What's going on, Thompson'S Kennels? Chilling, man. I see. This is not about dogs. This is more or less about chain setups and setups in general with these dogs. I'm gonna show y'all some of the stuff that I do. It's not written in stone. This is just what I do. If you have something that works for you, hey, but I'm just sharing this with the public because I get a lot of phone calls about setups. We're gonna start off with this one. This is a puppy setup. You can tell by the light chain, swivel. This is a hook. This is a bull snap. Mostly all of my setups have a double clasp at the end. I put 2 clasps on these dogs just in case one fails. They lay on this, it pops off. The bull snap is the extra security. As you can see, swivel. Put the swivel on the end where the dog is. I see so many setups where the swivel is back here in the ground and it's tangled up with weeds and stuff. Put it on the end with the dog. Some people use car axles. I got 2 axles down, but I use 4-foot augers. They're just as effective, me personally, if you install them right. The point of the auger is you dig a 1-foot hole, then you screw the auger down, and then you cover it over with the dirt. So the chain is just going into the ground. That makes it impossible for the chain to get caught on anything. The dog doesn't get tangled up. The swivel is on the end with the dog. So as the dog moves, the swivel is spinning and the chain never gets kinked. A lot of people fail with these bulldogs just because of the setup they have. You gotta have the correct setup to have these dogs. But this is what I use as a puppy setup. Small chain. Puppies do not need 15-20 foot worth of chain. You want a small chain because the least amount of stuff they can get into, the better off it is. So this is just a primary puppy setup. Here's another puppy setup. We'll go into the heavy duty stuff. Hustle man. Yeah, boy. That's Hustle Man. As you can see, he has 2 collars on. Very solid tow truck chain. He has a car axle in the ground. I put 2 collars on this bulldog. Hustle Man. Come here, boy. I put 2 collars on this bulldog for security purposes. As anybody knows, he's a very, very high-strung bulldog. He's a chain hitter. A definition of a chain hitter is a dog that runs and forgets that they're on the chain. So when they get to the very end of the chain, it's whap, a snap. I use 2 collars, 2 different leads going to each collar. Cut it out. You got plenty of stuff to chew on. Cut that out. What you call? I lost my train of thought. I use 2 collars. Heavy snaps going on each collar. So if one collar was if he was to somehow miraculously get loose, there's a secondary collar with a secondary lead to keep this dog secure. I don't do kennel accidents. That's not. I do everything humanly possible to prevent that. But that's a setup that you would have to use on a dog that's intense. Hey, that's a setup that you would have to use on a dog that's this type of nature. But that's it. Now, if you look up here, you're gonna see a cable run. This is another setup that I use. This is for days when you're really tired, you didn't get a chance to work your dogs. This is the setup that I use. That part goes onto the dog, C-link. There's a swivel on the bull snap. I use a pulley, horseshoe tie. This adds weight to the pulley so the pulley's not flipping upside down. You want it to glide smoothly. It's a perfect way to work your dog. My run is roughly about 40 feet. I secure it to this other end right here. And I have 2 leads. This is a regular chain spot, but it can also be used as a cable run if I hook him up to this end and let him go back and forth. But this is another chain setup. But like I said, different kind of setups. There we go. This is a cage setup that I use. This is what I primarily use for my puppies, when I work my dogs, this is an enclosed area where the dog does not have to be on a chain. Dog can move freely, do what it wants. Has shelter, all of the 9 yards. Is great for puppies, larger dogs. If you just want to get a dog off the chain to work, that's the cage setup. And it getting hot out here. These dogs starting to lay low. Crutch. This is a heavy duty, have another heavy duty chain setup. As you can see, the length of this chain that I'm using, the thickness of the chain, and the hardware that I'm using on the end of the chain. I use heavy chains in heavy class like this to work out a dog's front end. He's primarily using his front end when he's on this. As you can constantly see my videos, dogs are constantly being moved. They're never really on the same spot every time I shoot a video, because each chain setup provides a different exercise for the dog. A longer, light chain, such as what Cookie's on, is to work out the dog's rear end. A heavier chain with a heavier class is to work out the dog's front end. So I alternate back and forth. Now this is a new setup. This is something I was fucking with on a Saturday. Let me light my cigarette. All right. Now I cooked this up in my head when I was doing it. I had a friend who bought this same exact cage, but he built his a little bit lower to the ground. Can I talk? Yeah. He built his a little bit lower to the ground. I built mine's higher. It's predicated almost like a high box, but it's not for brood purposes. This is a setup that I use and just experimenting with, because so far I really like it, and I may go and build one next to it as a duplicate. But this is another setup that just gets the dog off the ground. I shot a video yesterday. Mary. This is where I'm keeping Mary at right now. She's had a little morning sickness going on due to the pregnancy, but very, very good dog. And I like this setup for her. She's off the ground. She's relaxed. Has plenty of shade, dog house. You know, it's just another way to keep these dogs. So, you know, and like I said, she's pretty much pregnant, I'm pretty sure. She hasn't gone back down. You can start to see her tits hanging. I did a half brother, half sister breeding with her and Hustle Man. They're half brothers, same father, different mother. Look out for that breeding coming up. But this is another setup. Like I said, it's predicated like a high box, but I'm not using it for brood purposes. This is another way to get a dog off the chain, off the ground, depending on, you know, what you got going on. She's pregnant. But like I said, she's got a little morning sickness going on. It's about the 3rd week into the pregnancy. For you guys who haven't been breeding dogs, don't freak out if you notice that. These dogs do get morning sickness just like pregnant women do. It's just main thing is just not freaking out and doing stuff extra that you don't have to do. You'll notice either they're going to eat a lot or they'll stop eating for about 2-3 days. And like I said, she's eating and everything back again, but she's just moving gingerly because her body's changing. You can see her uterus is going to get larger because it's going to hold puppies. All of these things are just her body changing, and the attitude changes along with that because of the hormones. But this is Mary, and like I said, I'm 95% sure it took maybe an in-house breeding, because like I'm expecting these to be very more to the Hustle Man side. A lot of people like to look at these dogs high strung. All of my customers, they love Hustle Man. Oh man, I want that, I need that. But you gotta be able to have the proper setup to have a dog like that. It all seems cool and fine and dandy until you notice that it's not an easy keep dog. It's gonna tear some stuff up, and that's the problem. You gotta find a dog that's in your lane as far as temperament. Now she is a very laid back bitch. She's cool with males and stuff, but she just doesn't like other females. And you know, she's really funny about her space. But I did that breeding, half brother, half sister, just to try to equal out the temperament on these dogs. But like I said, I think Hustle Man's going to be a very strong producing dog, which means these puppies may take a trait after him. But that's Mary. That's another kind of setup. Yeah, mama. I know. But what you call, just a little setup video. I ain't trying to do nothing major. Show you guys different setups for different dogs, different temperament, and so on and so on. But I can be reached at Thompson'S Kennels. Oh yeah, I am gonna move that female off of Crush and Cookie. Anybody interested, please just send me the email like I asked in some of my prior videos. Send me the email. It will be documented and we will keep you on file. I'm just not rushing right now to sell the puppy, but you're more than welcome to talk and speak. When I get ready to move the dog, I will definitely keep contact with you and we can go from there. I just haven't personally made my decision on which female I want to keep yet, because I don't really care about the money. It's not about the money. I do these breedings because there's certain dogs I need off of these breedings to keep my program going. I work for a living. This is not how I pay my bills. Any money these dogs I get off these dogs go back into these dogs. But like I said, the female will be moved just at my own discretion. But like I said, email me at Thompson'S Kennels if you're interested. We will have a conversation. I will put you on file. When I make a decision on what dog I want, I will gladly let the public know the one that I'm selling. But I'm going to give it some more time because this is a big decision for me. The female that I choose is going to be on the bottom of my pedigrees in the future. And I want to make a sound decision on what female I want. They both are very exceptional dogs. That's why this decision is so hard. The brown male was an easy decision because of the gene traits that I saw immediately. Cookie was the only dog that was brown off of her litter. She also was the only female off of her litter. So when I bred her to Crush, the same genes and tendencies came through. It was two males, but one of them was brown, the only brown one off the litter. So when I saw him, I knew that was the male that I wanted off the rip. Females are different. I'm pleased with both of them. So like I said, I'm gonna take a little more time before I make a rush decision. And for you guys who breed these dogs, don't be in a rush to sell your puppies. Take time to really look at your dogs and appreciate what you just did as far as the breeding. You know, there's so many stories about people who do these breedings and sell these dogs and they just gave away, or sold things before they even knew what it was going to be. You know, have at least an idea of what you bred before you sell it. But that's just me. You know, I can't tell anybody else how to make their money. I don't know nobody else hustle, but that's just me. But like I said, I could be reached at thompsonskennels@gmail.com. All lowercase, thompsonskennels@gmail.com. And y'all have a blessed Sunday. Okay, last but not least, this is the hot box. I forgot. A lot of people call me and ask me what this is. This is a hot box. This is predicated for brew applications, breeding bitches. Bitches that are about, I usually put a bitch in here about a week out of her due date. Put her in here, let her relax. She has an area in the back to give birth to the puppy. She can go into the front, use the bathroom. This is a no stress way where you have control of the situation. A lot of people breed these dogs and then the last minute they're moving these dogs around, trying to get stuff off. You done agitated the bitch. Now she's giving birth under stress. You have issues. This is a great piece of equipment. I went years without this. I finally built one probably about, I think, a year ago, 2 years ago. I built this, and you know, I did things a different kind of way. I had friends that had hot boxes and stuff, but I was like, you know, it is a necessity. I won't lie to you. Just the being able to control the situation, the temperature, the pups off the ground. When you're ready to break the mother off, you can leave the puppies in there for another month or two before you want to put them on the ground, so you can give them all their shots before their feet ever touch the ground. You know, it's a good way to keep the puppies clean, pests. I mean, it's a great piece of equipment, but that's the hot box, people. All right, Thompson'S Kennels. I'm just trying to get all this information out. I get a lot of emails and phone calls, and you know, I greatly appreciate it. Sometimes I don't always get to respond to people back, but I'll answer some questions. This is one question. This is a series of little short videos I put together just to answer some questions for people who are trying to get into this breed of dog as far as setups and all that stuff go. I get a constant comment. The dogs on the ground thing. I tell people just like Jump Street, these animals are descendants from wolves, okay? Forget the breeds and all of that in general. These dogs are descendants of wolves. If we were not here, see that dog laying there? That's hard work. That's what he would be doing in the wild. He would be laying there chilling. He'd get up to hunt, use the bathroom, but this is how naturally these animals would be. All right? I don't like concrete kennels, okay? In the wild nature, these animals aren't laying on concrete. They would be doing just what he's doing now, laying on the ground. I truly believe that concrete kennel stuff, it looks real nice now. Don't get me wrong, people. It's a very professional look. But health-wise, I think that shit does something to them dogs. As far as I never had hip dysplasia or any of these issues with these animals the way I keep them. But I truly believe putting them in them concrete kennels and them constantly laying on that concrete, what people don't realize about concrete, when it gets cold outside, that concrete retains that cold. Even if the sun comes out, the concrete is still cold. Well, how would you feel if I said lay on this cold ass concrete? You know what that would do to your joints and bones after years? So I don't do concrete, and that's the purpose for it. If I wanted to pour concrete back here, I could do that. But I don't believe in that, as far as I think that shit health-wise screws with those dogs physically. And that's the concrete question. Alright. Thompson'S Kennels, all lowercase, at gmail.com. That's the email. The second question, we're going to talk about cage kennels and in general. You got like the animal people, you know, oh, the chains. I'm going to explain something to you. A dog has more space on the chain than inside of a 6x10 kennel. Do the math. If I use a 12-foot chain, a 12-foot chain radius is bigger than a 6x10 kennel. Psychologically, the kennel does something to those dogs. Point blank, period. They know they're in a cage. They can see the cage. They see the cage is preventing them to getting to where they want to get to. They do not act like that on the chain. The chain is almost a sense of freedom for a dog. When they run on that chain, they have a huge radius where they're running, and they psychologically, they're not focused on a piece of metal in front of them and closing them in. Okay? That's why I prefer the chain setup. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You don't see dogs chewing chain link. They can't chew. They'll chew the chain link. They'll do things like that because psychologically, they're in a freaking cage. They can see the cage. It's real. It's right there in front of them. That's why I like the chain setups. That's why I use cable runs. That's why my cage is big. You see how my cage is set up? It's for the dog to have real space to move around. Not the little boxes. Like I said, it's a professional look. But physically and psychologically, look at what you're doing to the dog. Alright? That's the question as far as the little 6x10 kennels that they line up and pour concrete and sit them on. That's how I feel about them.